Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pie Guy and Brodeur. One voice, two minds. I'm your host, Pie Guy, and today we're talking all about the word cooperation. That's right, being cooperative. As always on these episodes, I will be circling back with the one, the only, that's right, Brodeur of Brodeurland, Mr. Brodeur. Hey, everybody. Hey, Pie Guy. That's right. We're going to be talking about cooperation. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, Pie Guy. I'm a little nervous to talk about cooperation. Why is that, Mr. Brodeur? Well, to me, cooperation I was not very good at when I was younger. I'm going to even share a story where I did not do great when it came to teamwork and cooperation. Oh, I'm looking forward to that, Mr. Brodeur. All right, Pie Guy. But yeah, so truthfully, I feel like I really had to wrap my head around this word, relook at my video a little bit, and really think about some of those stories I wanted to share today, because I want you guys to understand I'm not perfect. Pie Guy's not perfect, right? And I want to share that I failed at times with these words, whether it's cooperation or perseverance or resilience or whatever we talk about, but also ways that I've tried to overcome that in my years as I've grown and matured. So hopefully we can dive in. You can get a little inspired. You can learn about some of my failures and how I was able to persevere and become a better version of myself as I've grown. Well, thank you, Mr. Brodeur, for sharing that. And I am really looking forward to, I don't know if this sounds evil, but I'm really looking forward to hearing a story of you failing, just to kind of be vulnerable, hear your vulnerable side. So anyways, Mr. Brodeur, I'm ready to slice things up. Are you ready? Sure thing, Pie Guy. Lay your first question on me. Sure thing, Mr. Brodeur. So here it is. We always like to start the same way. So we're talking about cooperation. What does it mean, Mr. Brodeur? How do you define this idea of fostering cooperation in our lives? Yes, and great question, Pie Guy. So for me, when I look at the definition of cooperation, I think of this. I think first, you have to be engaged in discussions and with other people, whether that's making eye contact with others or being in the moment, right? Also, you have to provide support by working together. So in general, I think the most important thing when it comes to that definition is really being in the present moment with that person, with that people, with that team, whatever you want to call it. That is the start. We have to be present with each other. And also, I like to also connect all of our words of the week, because each podcast is not just, hey, here's a word, try to live by it. No, here's a new word, and how can you use this word, in this case, cooperation, right? And link it up with resilience, link it up with perseverance, link it up with embracing mistakes. And so, like I said in the other podcasts, I always look at resilience and perseverance as your foundation, right? Resilience, I got to get back up. Once you get back up, this is where cooperation, this is where embracing mistakes comes into play, right? Embracing mistakes, what did I fail at? What can I improve? Cooperation, we're going to talk a little bit about that, of course, today. And then, of course, perseverance. Once you get all that situated, you can push forward. So keep that in mind as we talk through this today. How can you keep linking up these words? Wow. Okay, Mr. Brodeur. So I like what you're saying. I like how you're also reminding us that these episodes, these words of the week are not one-offs. Keep connecting them. But also, it sounds like a major part in fostering cooperation is being present in the moment. And I'll be honest, I have a hard time with this, Mr. Brodeur. I feel like my mind sometimes is, all over the place. Well, me too, Pie Guy. I think most people would feel that way. I know I do when I allow stress to sink in. I mean, I know so many times, and probably some people can relate, right? I get home from work, I just want to decompress, and I go straight to my phone. Maybe I want to watch TV. Maybe I just want to lay on the couch, right? Yeah, you said it right there, Mr. Brodeur. I totally agree. That's right, Pie Guy. And I think so many of us We want to decompress, and that's not a bad thing, but we also have to make sure we're being in the moment, whether we have children, whether we have a spouse, whether we have friends or family, right? We can't just tune out the world, and we can't just use these escapes to tune things out, right? So, to answer your question, how can we foster cooperation in our lives and the lives of the people around us, right? Well, cooperation is all about giving people a voice, allowing them to know they are valued and listening to them. And of course, the most important part, can we work together? So let me share with you first where I failed at cooperation. Oh, yes, Mr. Brodeur. All right, let's rip off the Band-Aid. I am all ears in a good way. Okay, Pie Guy, you can calm down a little bit. But yes, I want to start off with a time I failed to cooperate. And this goes back to when I was in middle school. I was playing soccer, and my team had just come off 2 great seasons. In those 2 seasons, we had only lost 1 game. Only 1 game, Mr. Brodeur? Yes, so we were undefeated for 1 season, and we had lost 1 game to a team that we beat later on in the season. So we kind of went back and forth, going between first and second, right? And so the coach we had moved on, and we were going to have, of course, another coach. And also some of our team was going to be broken up due to aging out or moving on to different leagues. And so at that point, I'll be honest, I was not really open to having a new coach. I loved my coach, and I loved the comfortability of being with that team. We were seeing so much success, and I showed my immature side, my disrespectful side through my actions in that following season during practice. I would walk around the field, venture off, do my own thing. I even had teammates that were my friends, and they would follow along with me. I mean, talk about a bad example. And this in turn fractured our team. It hurt us on the field when it counted during the game. It was a bad season. I can't even remember if we won a game or not. And reflecting back, a lot of it, was my fault. Later on in the season, I tried to come around to my coach, but by that time, the trust, the bond was gone. And that is an example of me not really fostering cooperation, allowing my ego and allowing my selfishness to affect not only myself, but my team and my friends and my coach. And that time reminds me to never do that again. Wow, Mr. Brodeur, you really did not foster cooperation during that time in your life. So let me ask you, how would you do things, now reflecting back differently? Sure. So, Pie Guy, looking back, I, of course, would do things differently. And so let me start with this. I really like this quote by Henry Ford. Henry Ford, of course, if you don't know who he is, created the assembly line, right? And he has this quote, and it says this: coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. I love this quote because coming together is the beginning. As a soccer team, we came together. We were forced together. We were told you're on this team, right? Keeping together, that's progress. I fractured that part. We weren't keeping together. Half the team was venturing off and throwing rocks in the pond, literally, while the other half was practicing and making shots. And then working together, that wasn't happening, right? And so those last 2 parts are important. We got to come together. You got to stay together. And then moving forward, you have to be able to work together. You got to have that third component, because if you can't work together, you could be in the same room. You can acknowledge that, we're still here. But if you're not willing to work, if you're not willing to learn with each other and grow together, man, nothing's going to be in sync. And that was the important part of Henry Ford. He took something, the assembly line, got everybody on board. They worked in sync. And man, that's hard. Change is frightening. You heard me. I couldn't deal with change in middle school. And I love this quote by Needle Cobain. And he says this: for the timid, change is frightening. For the comfortable, change is threatening. And for the confident, change is opportunity. So how do you make cooperation work with human nature, where we have tons of questions, concerns, And middle school students, like Mr. Brodeur, not wanting to listen to their coach or teacher or whoever, like Henry Ford. He gave everybody a vital and specific role and showed them that no matter who you are, you matter. You're important. Without you, there's a missing link. You got to get everybody involved. You have to build confidence by making them a master of their part of the assembly line, of their part of that team, that class, whatever it is you are doing. All right, Mr. Brodeur, I really loved your insight right there, especially talking about Henry Ford's quote and linking it up with your failure with your middle school soccer team. But also, I really love that Nito Cobain quote. You talked about being comfortable, right? And how when we're comfortable, we don't really want things to change because things are good. And in general, I get scared when my comfortable self has to be shaken up. And like you said with that new soccer coach, that was a hard time because you were comfortable with a team and with a coach, and that was all shaken up right there. But I like how you said for the confident changes opportunity. I feel like that is so true. The problem is for myself and probably you and other people, sometimes when we hit change, that confidence isn't there right away. So thank you for that insight. Now, let me ask you this. We talked about some failures and things of that nature. Do you have any example where you used cooperation successfully? Well, yes, Pie Guy. I got 2 examples. So let me jump into them really quick because I want to talk about 2 different jobs that I had throughout my life and how I use cooperation effectively. So first one I want to talk about is youth group. So when probably maybe 8 years ago, I was working at the church and I was in charge of everything K through 12 in the religious ed. And so also I was in charge of the junior high youth group, high school youth group. And on my second year, our numbers were growing. And I talked about this in another podcast episode, but our junior high youth group, it was busting out of the seams. They were stuck in a classroom downstairs, and I knew I needed to get them more to an open area. And so I needed to move them upstairs to our church hall where they would have more room to breathe. We could do activities, things of that nature. But also that meant I would have to be in 2 places at once because during that time we would have confirmation classes going on for the high school youth group. And then I would have the junior high youth group upstairs. And I thought, okay, how is this going to happen? I can't really be in 2 places at once. So we needed to hire an assistant to help me with the youth group. And that was Rose. And Rose was awesome. She was an excited and willing to try person, right? She was willing to get out of her comfort zone. She was very teachable, but this was going to be a new realm for her. She had never really done a youth group type thing. So I knew there was going to be learning, and I couldn't throw her immediately in because I had to build confidence in her, right? Show her how things run. And I had to show her that she has a role and she's important. And I wanted her to grow so she could branch out and, of course, become that co-leader that I needed her to become. Okay, Mr. Brodeur, so I see where this is going. You had to cooperate together, work together with Rose and the other adult volunteers and other individuals that were probably present during junior high youth group. But at the same time, you had to build confidence in her and build her up. Yes, but also I needed to get to know her since she, like anyone else, has skills, has gifts, has talents. And remember, these gifts may complement what I'm missing. And there might be gifts and talents and things that she could do that could add to what we are doing well. I think back to the Sue Gardner quote, and it says this: everybody brings their crumb of information to the table. If they are not at the table, we don't benefit from their crumb. You see, everybody has something they can bring to a group, to a team, whether that's gifts, talents, perspectives, ideas. And you got to remember, we all matter. You matter, I matter, we're all worthy. And so over a couple months, I could see Rose growing and trying things out, building confidence in her abilities. And so one Wednesday, I needed to start in the confirmation classes because we had a retreat coming up and some big events coming up for them. And so I needed to probably spend about 10 to 15 minutes downstairs giving out forms, explaining some things coming up, making sure everybody was on the same page. The problem is I couldn't be upstairs also doing junior high youth group. So this was a great opportunity for Rose to be without me, to start things off, to do a lesson. And so she came up with this great idea. She was going to do origami, which was a hobby of hers. She knew how to do it. And she was going to make the middle schoolers create figures that she had already pre-planned out and that she was going to walk them through. But these figures would go with the lessons and the messages that we were going to talk about that night. For example, a dove for the Holy Spirit, things like that. And that was a skill. That was a gift that she had, and she showed them and helped them through creating these different origami figures. When I came up, I had students so excited to show me what they made, and it was a success. And she not only felt the value, she saw her role. She was able to bring her talents to the class, to that role, and from then on out, she had gained confidence and saw her true value. Wow, Mr. Brodeur. So Rose was able to build confidence and come out of her shell and really bring her gifts to make a successful lesson. That sounds so great. Yes, Pie Guy. And what's great about this too is part of this is learning from my experience of failing with my middle school team and really allowing myself to go, okay, it's going to take time. It's going to take some patience and being present with the people, not leaving, not saying, oh, she's not getting this the first time, right? I had to build her up and give her a chance. That also helped me grow as a leader because I had to hand things over. I'm a control freak. I hate handing things over, but that was a growing part for me. And do we need everybody's gifts all the time, every single moment? No, but here's the deal. You have to be open. And when you are open, you foster an open and trusting environment. So later on down the road, when you have a new project or something you're working on as a team, you can say, hey, remember you had that idea, you had that gift, you have that talent. We can use that right now. And that's what I did with Rose. And now that person can shine. They can showcase their talent, build confidence and bonds to move forward. That's so great to hear, Mr. Brodeur. Thanks again for sharing that example. Now, I believe you said 2 examples, if I'm not mistaken. What is the second example you have about cooperation? Great question, Pie Guy. Yes, and thanks for reminding me. The other one is more recent in my teaching profession, now at the middle school. So Miss Cole, who was a colleague of mine and a fellow 8th grade math teacher alongside me for many years, she helped contribute some new 8th grade lessons and materials a couple years back. Talk about game changing. See, I was teaching for a couple of years in the 7th grade, and the administration told me that the following year, I'd be coming up to the 8th grade again to teach. We had lost 2 of our 3 teachers. Of course, Miss Cole was the remaining 8th grade teacher. And so over the summer, Miss Cole, not really sure what the 8th grade team was going to look like, she said, okay, I'm going to find some lessons. I'm going to make sure I get these units all squared away. And she presented it to the team the following year. And that was one of the best contributions, I believe, to our 8th grade curriculum, our 8th grade team, my whole time being at the middle school. It organized our units better, provided a mixture of beginning and higher level questioning. Sure, did Ms. Cole and I have our plans from previous years? Sure, but I was open to looking at this new material. She was open to trying to say, okay, here's an opportunity. Yes, it's change, but let me take a hold of this change and let me try to apply some things that may make this team a little bit better. And at times we might be supplementing with the older material, just to kind of fill in some blanks, but talk about making us better and more effective teachers. And we even saw our test scores improve over the years. She brought her crumb, or to be all honest, probably a whole 5-course meal, And man, did we eat it up as an 8th grade team. Wow. Thanks, Mr. Brodeur, for sharing those experiences with us. I always like hearing how these words and your ideas, work and how you put it into action. And it looks like that cooperation with Miss Cole really paid off. Well, thank you, Pie Guy. And like I said before, remember, I'm not perfect. And there are times I need to reflect back and to keep myself open to cooperating, collaborating with others. And yes, I loved working with Miss Cole. And it's hard to see her go, for she's retired now, but she made me such a better teacher. And I'm so grateful for that. That is so great to hear, Mr. Brodeur. Now, before we have to go, is there anything else you would like to share with us on cooperation before we have to go? Well, Pie Guy, there is one more thing I would like to talk about, and that is Nelson Mandela's quote about cooperation. And he says this: if you want the cooperation of humans around you, you must make them feel they are important, and you do that by being genuine and being humble. You see, what I love about his quote is we all matter, we all have value. If you want to build trust, if you want to build cooperation, you have to be real and you have to be authentic. You keep cooperation by being that real self, that authentic self, and while fostering humility throughout the whole process. Don't fake. You got to be real. You got to be humble. Now, Mr. Brodeur, I'm going to pause you just for a second because I need you to help explain humility and what it means. Because to be honest, I feel that word is so confusing to me. Sure, Pie Guy. And yes, humility is one of the most misunderstood words, even for me in the past. I used to think of it as, oh, I feel bad for winning. I don't want anyone to feel bad that I did great at this. And you end up putting yourself down. That is not what humility means at all. It's more like this. It's not about thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. So, like I said, that first part, not thinking less of yourself, that is, don't put yourself down. It has nothing about putting yourself down, right? But it's more about thinking of yourself less. It's not all about me. It's not all about you. Can you be that good team player and actively listen to allow cooperation to resonate in your life and the lives of others? Put aside your pride, put aside your ego, and I believe being genuine and humble is the best medicine. I see so many times in any profession, in the jobs and roles I have had throughout the years, that when people want to embellish their work or one-up others or the arrogance is coming out, it is so deflating to the people around. You got to be real. You got to be vulnerable. You got to be willing to listen. Those are the best ways to build a team. And for example, I just finished creating a book of mine titled Luke the Leaf. Wow, Mr. Brodeur, you wrote a book? That is so cool. Yes, Pie Guy, but here's the deal. I did not do it alone. Yes, I may have put the story together, but I'm no ELA teacher. So when it comes to punctuation or using the correct words and little things like that, I needed the help of others, whether those were teachers or friends or family, people I knew that were experts in certain things that would help me complete this project and eventually print my book. And Pie Guy, do you remember when we created our first episode for this whole podcast that we're trying to create? Yes, Mr. Brodeur. I believe you had Coach Benowitz listen to one of our first episodes, and he gave us some great advice. Yes. And when we finished up our first episode, which was at that point, Perseverance, we thought that was going to be episode 1. And Coach Benowitz is always that person I go to because I know he's going to be honest. He's going to be truthful, and I can be vulnerable with him, right? And he loves to give me that great advice and push our limits, right? And he told us to be vulnerable. He told us to share some life experiences. And he even mentioned, hey, maybe having a Brodeurland background story would be cool too. And so that's when we went back to the drawing board. We did a little Brodeurland Origins episode. And then we went back and redid Perseverance and made it even better. That's correct, Mr. Brodeur. I remember you telling me we had to redo the episode and add a new one. I'll be honest, I was a little deflated when you told me that news. I agree, Pie Guy. I didn't want to redo the episode, but that is the challenge of being real, vulnerable, and allowing others to have a voice. Like I said earlier, for the timid, change is frightening. For the comfortable, change is threatening. And for the confident, change is opportunity. You are able to learn, grow, and move forward to try new things and become a better version of yourself if you are open to cooperation. We have to be open to change and share with others and allow them to have a voice. So together we can all push forward and become that best version of ourselves. Pie-tacular, Mr. Brodeur. Thanks again. I loved our conversation. I loved hearing whether it was the failure of your, I guess you could say, middle school soccer team to the successes and the things you tried later on when you grew. And I just appreciate our time together and really diving into this word cooperation. Now, to all of our viewers and listeners out there, I'm going to send you off like I always do. Stay infinite, my friends. And like always, Mr. Brodeur, send us off in style. Sure thing. So always remember, you all make each day a special day by just you being you. There's no one in the whole world like you except you. And we like you just the way you truly are. It's good that you exist, but you got to go out there. You got to be willing to cooperate, listen, be present in the moment with others so you can go out and become that best version of yourself. So until next time, Brodeur out. Peace.